What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Awakening World. I am Love Coach Scott Katamas. I am honored to be your host. And it's Wednesday night, so I get to have my favorite friend, Trish Wright, as my co-host. And there, of course, is Omar Shar, who's also with us. And we have a beautiful show tonight. The theme is being a lighthouse in the darkness. And I actually picked up those words from your favorite spiritual couple, Ray and Sahat. And they are with us. But wait, there's even more. We have one of my dearest friends from a long time ago, known him for many, many years. This is Angel B, coming to us all the way from Bali. But wait, there's still more. We also have an extraordinary teacher, Shashi Saluna, who I recently met. And you're going to get to hear from all of these beautiful souls tonight, all about their tips, tools, practices for how we can be a light in the darkness and what that really even means. So it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful show. Now, I want to acknowledge that most of you are watching us on Facebook, and that's wonderful. A big thank you to John and Summer Raymer, who get us out to as many as 175 groups and pages on Facebook. Thank you. And you can watch us on Facebook, but I want to invite you to come on in and join the Global Peace Tribe. And the Global Peace Tribe is a wonderful, truly global, like tonight we've got Shashi from Tulum, Omushar from Colorado, Ray and Sahat are in Atlanta, Angel all the way out in Bali, and Trish in California. I'm in Sedona, Arizona, henceforth my orange Sedona background. But come and join us. And it's easy. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com. And what you'll do is you can learn kind of all about who we are and what we do. But go right now, and register for the new season. And when you click that, it's going to open up a registration page. We do 3, sometimes even 4 shows every week, always something on Wednesday night. So for example, here's the show you're going to see tonight with all these amazing guests. Then on Saturday night, we always have a show that integrates inspirational presenters with beautiful live music. And then our Sacred Sunday show. And this is a non-denominational kind of show where we deal with different forms of spirituality and understanding. Sunday show is going to be beautiful, all about Mary Magdalene, including a woman who's coming to us all the way from France, who leads tours of the Mary Magdalene world there, the belief that she ended up in France. We've got Christy Michaels, who's quite a researcher in this area, and one of my favorite co-hosts, Eden Amadora, and then Melissa Sophia Joy, who channels Mary Magdalene. So this is an example of the kind of eclectic shows you're going to find on the Awakening World. They're inspirational, they're informational, and they're fun. Plus, we have this amazing community of people that you're going to see. People like Eleanor Joy and Reverend Jeffrey and Mark Danisovsky and all the others that are with us. You'll see them moving and grooving and dancing to the music. So welcome, come and join the Global Peace Tribe. And a huge hello to all of our friends that are in our Zoom room already. Really, really fun to see people from everywhere, from Minneapolis to San Diego, up to British Columbia, Santa Barbara. Thank you, everybody. And even Dorina, all the way down in Ecuador. I'm going to start by, we'll, of course, have an Omashar song in a moment, but I'm going to bring on my dear friend, Trish, and ask you, Trish, what's it mean to you to be a light in the darkness?
Good question. I think about the darkness as the places yet to be seen, as the unknown. And I know that it's kind of had like this really bad rap to have this darkness. But there's so much that happens in the darkness. There's so much sweetness and delight, and to even in, like, if we're talking about the darkness of the way the day moves, but to be able to sit in that kind of the cold dark of like 3-4 in the morning is a really special place of introspection. And even inside the places that you can look at, like the places unseen that are, I don't know about you, but my brain thinks in images. So I often think about the darkness as a warm, drippy, stalactite kind of cave, some like sweet nourishment in there, right? Like, and you can hear the sound of your breath on the side. And it's those places where there's so much life that can be experienced if you're willing to sit in the discomfort of that place. And to be a light in there is to be in that space of just accepting it where it's at, and to meet it with love, acceptance, curiosity.
Beautiful. I just really want to acknowledge all the ways that I experience you as my friend and also as my collaborator on this show, bringing sometimes topics that are difficult. A lot of the topics that we've worked with on racial injustice, social injustice, and your dedication to being a light and in the darkness of white supremacy and white privilege. So I think you're doing a pretty amazing job with that. So
I actually have a lot of friends who consider themselves lighthouses, and I was like, that just doesn't exactly fit for me. And I think what I am is a lamplighter. I light everybody else's lamp. I'm just like, here, I got a lighter. You want one?
Well, thank you for lighting our lamps. Of course, we'll have a lot more Trish and all of our other guests, but we got to get to some music. Omashar, though, we'll start with the same question. What does it mean to you to be a light in the darkness, or a lighthouse?
I love what you just said, Trish, because it almost brings me to tears, because I immediately get I immediately become even more aware of my heart space. And what I've noticed, especially in the last year and a half, as the light quotient beaming into the earth comes into all of those of us who are receiving it, that which doesn't want to, that shouldn't be existing in the first place, is up in my face every single day. Holy smoke! And I'm too deep in being a lamp lighter and a light in the darkness to say, get me out of here. I want, some days I want to press the eject button in the morning, and I realize it's not an option anymore. It goes, okay. And so, and little by little, and by our collaborations, we are truly rising. But today, I know you've had a challenging day. I've had a challenging day too. And it's like, where am I amongst all of this? It's like, where's that beautiful, I was on a Zoom call earlier, and I called it radical faith, when all around you is just trying to get your attention, and you know what is true. Sometimes you can't see where you're going. You just have to have radical faith that it is true. And so these touching points are very important for me. So I'm going to play a song, and it's called Dark Night. But actually the night is spelled with a K, and it means the glory that is rising out of your heart in the so-called darkness. Of course, there's no such thing as darkness. Even the night sky is not black, it's indigo blue. So let's go into indigo blue land and see what happens, shall we? Yes, we shall.
Is this a good one for people to move and groove and dance to?
Yes, it is. What's this feeling deep inside of me? New adventure, a whole new journey now that I see, and my head's above the water. I am new, I am life, everything I dreamed of. Whoa. Look what's happening. The giant's awake now. His eyes are open, seeing into the dark of the night. I see glory shining through me. I am here, come to me. It's an open invitation. Whoa. What's that over there calling to me? Mystery beckoning. Could it be destiny? It's my life, it's my waking dream creation. I am clear, I am free, I am joy in incarnation. Whoa.
Twinkle time for Omashar.
Twinkle time.
Yay, it's that time of night. It's twinkle time.
I love being twinkled.
That was a beautiful song. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
I always enjoy reading comments. And so let's make this a very interactive show tonight. I also want to mention that every one of our guests is an incredible coach. So if any of you have coaching issues, we're going to start with the topic and go around and hear from everybody about it. But if anybody's really wanting some extra support, send me a message either privately or publicly in the chat box. And because we've got some amazing coaches with us tonight. And I am going to read a couple of comments that have already come in, kind of in relationship to the theme for tonight. Eleanor Joy writes, for me, I see myself as being a lighthouse, shining my light and allowing others to decide to pay attention to the rough spots or even crash onto the rocks. The lighthouse does not go out into the ocean. It just remains solid on the rock and beams out its light. I like that. That is a really good one, Eleanor Joy. Thank you. Sylvia writes, sharing and embodying radiance is one way I frame this practice and process. Thank you. And Sylvia, please let us know how Nitya is doing. He's been in our prayers and would like to know that. Rain Sahat just wrote, Omashar's music is amazing over Zoom, but nothing compares to the magic in person. It's true. We were with Mark's incredible sound system. Hearing your music, Omashar, at the retreat was amazing. It was really, really fun.
It was totally fun, yes.
And also at our retreat was your favorite spiritual couple. Now, I got to be careful not to say that if the Twin Ray are watching. I love you, Twin Ray. But everyone's favorite spiritual couple is back with us, Ray and Sa. They were at the retreat. And it was wonderful to be able to meet you and get some in-person hugs. And tonight's theme started in the beginning. There was Ray and Sahat. And it was because it was from your text that I saw that line, be a lighthouse in the darkness. I said, hey, let's make that the topic of a show. So what's it mean to you two?
Ooh, it's such a deep topic, but also thank you, Scott. Thank you, Omashar, Trish, all of our lovely guests tonight, and all of you for joining. We always like to start with a little gratitude and just, a little heart to heart. So thank all of you for being here. You could be doing anything on a beautiful Wednesday night, but you chose to be here. So we appreciate you. We love you. And it was such an amazing time to meet you guys in LA. Oh my
Yes, we had so much fun. It was a blast.
Yes, being able to connect with so many of your beautiful souls. Okay, so what does it mean? You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
You might want to go first on this one.
I can't remember what we were watching, but oh my gosh, I'm totally stealing this. They said your only job is to display the benevolence of God. And I was just like, your only job in life, your only job is to display the benevolence of God. We are all human, but for whatever reason, we allow emotions to kind of cloud our judgment sometimes. And it's because you're acting from a space of feeling, but being a light in the darkness, a lighthouse in the darkness, is all about being able to step into more of an observer space and love regardless, like reflect that benevolence of the God within.
Whoop.
They'll be back. You're frozen, guys, but we love you.
Can you hear us?
They're back. They're back.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Omashari. So real quick, I have a friend who was talking about how he, was betrayed by someone at work who he thought he was friends with, and all this stuff was going on. And he had all of these real emotions of hurt and betrayal, which I've experienced before, but he was just going on and on and on and on and on about the topic, and has created this loop in his mind of his story. And that's one thing I love that we talked about at the retreat, was like, What story are you telling yourself? And he kept telling himself that this woman purposefully attacked him and betrayed him and slandered his name and all this stuff. It was very dramatic. But being that lighthouse in a dark space, I let him get his emotions out. I listened to him, and then I just shared with him, you know, I get and I feel your frustration. I feel your anger, you know, that betrayal. Like, that does not feel good to feel like you're betrayed by a friend, you know, but you're upset about something that has nothing to do with you. We found out that the girl had been molested or raped or something, of a very like dark space, and she had to go through this trauma, and she was still carrying this trauma and mirrored it amongst other people who were nice to her. And so you're upset with this person, but really she's just like hurting right now. So being a light in a dark space is, even though you are affected by something that someone else is doing, to be able to see that they're operating from a space of hurt right now, and just being able to be there for them no matter what they've done against you. That's kind of what it means to me. And that's the practice that I operate and I live in every day.
I love that. And for me, being that light in the darkness, because the darkness gets a bad rep, like the darkness is evil or chaotic. But when you are sitting in oneness, when you close your eyes, there's darkness. That's not evil, anything evil about that. When you think about the inside of your body is completely dark. There's no light inside of your body that's not received from the light outside. So that darkness within, there's nothing wrong with that. Now that imbalance is what we talk about when we address that darkness with those dark connotations. And I feel like when you find that balance, you're able to bring those gifts, bring those beautiful traits that the darkness has, and integrate that into that unity, and you be that light, and you start to radiate that light, that God within you, because God is in everything. So when you start to cognize that, and you see that every circumstance, every obstacle, every moment in life is a journey, and it is a journey to find that light, that God within us. So being that light is cognizing that God within you, so that you know how to navigate merrily down the stream and flow with the rhythm of the cosmos, instead of fighting against the current.
Mm-hmm. I love that you said like about the darkness, because a lot of people will, and let me know in the comments what your perception or what your definition of darkness is. I would love to see what you guys have to say, because one thing I absolutely love about Trish is she likes it there. She look like she's comfortable. She's like, "Ooh, it's dark in here. I don't need no candles." Like, I'm fine, you know. And I love that energy, because darkness doesn't necessarily need to be something that you should be afraid of. A lot of people are afraid of this darkness, and so I think like using the right language. Right? She's like, "Bring it on."
Exactly.
I like it. I
That
like
energy.
it in here.
Can I love you there? And there? Oh, wait. There too. Yeah. That.
Well, and you know what's beautiful about what you're saying is the shadow, and we're all coaches, and I'm going to love to hear what Shashi and Angel have to say about this too. As coaches, our job is to make it safe for people to talk about their shadow side, and to not see whatever it is they've been hiding. It might be an addiction, it might be a compulsion, it might be whatever they have some embarrassment, some shame, or even some guilt around. And as coaches, our job is to make it really safe to come out and talk about it. We all have a shadow side. We all have those little things that we do, or those big things that we do. So, one of the things that I really respect about all three of you is that you are so compassionate and you know how to make it safe for people to share their darkness, whatever their darkness means to them. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going
I
to bring
also
on.
wanna comment.
Oh,
Oh,
go
real quick.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
want to comment. In the darkness, like that's where everything is created from.
Mhm.
Like, the womb. And when Trish was talking about that dark, wet place, that's where I went, the womb, right? That is the portal of creation. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Stargate experience. They talk about the void. When you enter that void, it is completely dark. It is black. There's nothing there. There's more space than there is actual mass in the universe, right? And in that space is darkness, but there's opportunity for creation in that darkness. So when chaos presents itself to you, step into a space of opportunity and excitement, because you can create out of that chaos, right? You can create out of that space. Okay, that's all I wanted to
Out of
say.
chaos comes order.
Well, we will definitely come back to you soon. So thank you. We still have two more amazing people to hear from. And I'm going to bring up a dear friend of mine. And I'm so glad to introduce him to our Global Peace Tribe audience. This is Angel B, coming to us from Bali. And Angel has been a big part of Love Coach Academy. And I've watched him. I've actually worked with him where I had the honor to be his coach in a certain chapter of his life. And I was so impressed with his incredible ability to self-reflect. And he was in a difficult relationship with somebody that he could have pointed finger at. And he never did. He always kept bringing it back to himself. What can I do better? What can I do differently? He really is, and he's an accomplished human being. And your humility and your willingness to keep bringing it back to yourself and learn, and then taking the Love Coach Academy classes and courses and learning. And he's now he's an incredible coach and mentor, works a lot primarily with men. So you men watching, if you're looking for a good coach and mentor, here's your guy. And you are somebody that both I've known you personally and professionally. You truly are a lighthouse. You are someone that radiates love. So welcome, Angel. Hopefully the internet gods will smile upon us, because I know you're coming from an island very far away. But an opening question: what's this topic mean to you?
Well, thank you, Scott. It's such a pleasure and honor to be here with everyone. Thank you for the beautiful introduction, and just appreciate you so much for our history together and all that you've blessed me with. This question about being a lighthouse, being a light in the darkness, lands truly central with one of the things that I love to teach and invite men and women into. And that's really, a lot of us go through life saying, oh, I really want to live my life. I really want to live my life, right? Why aren't I living my life fully? Typically when we're stuck in the challenges and in the darker aspects of life. And life for me is an acronym. It can stand for living in fear, frustration, and fatigue, which a lot of us struggle with, right, in one form or another. And so something that I have found useful for myself and mentoring others is even this idea of living our life when life tends to be suffering. If you look at the Buddhists, the Buddhists kind of nailed it when they said life is suffering. And so why do we want to live our life, right? I say live our light. And to me, that's not bypassing the struggle, but it's really an invitation to live and orient ourselves to a place that we really are who we really are is not just life, but light itself. And for me, that's an acronym as well. It's an acronym that you can spin into many different ways, but L being love, I being inspiration, G being greatness or gratitude, H being our wholeness, our healing, our health, our harmony, and T being our truth and trusting the universe. And when we can use a fun word like light to make it mean something that's just more affirmative for ourselves, why not choose to live our light instead of just living life? Because life can be hard, but light is always bright and everlasting. So this is an orientation I love to invite people into, and I choose to kind of orient my own reality around. Yeah, that's kind of what I want to offer at the moment.
Beautiful. All right, well, we're going to have a lot more Angel and May and Sahat and Trish, but we have one more amazing guest, and she's actually a new friend. I just met her recently through a mutual colleague, someone she works very closely with that I've had the joy to work with a little bit. And this is Shashi. Shashi, and do you pronounce it Soluna? How do you pronounce it?
That's it. Sol, Luna, Sun, Moon, Light, Dark.
Well, she's an amazing Tantra facilitator. I actually had the good fortune to kind of overhear and listen to her teaching and coaching. She is a bright light, as I think you all can see right away. And she's been teaching for over 20 years. She trained as an Osho therapist. She's been with Master Mantak Chia, who's been on this show. Off camera, we'll have to talk about Osho. My wife, who passed away, was very involved with Osho, and he loved tall blonde women, and she was 5'10", German. And there's this famous picture of little Osho dancing with Suchi, my wife. It was one of her pride and joys. Anyway, Shashi is also the author of Tantra Made Easy, which is on Hay House, and she has podcasts of the same name. We're going to learn all about all that she's doing. She's got a very elaborate, beautiful website. But she's here right in this moment. And of course, same question, Shashi. What's this question mean to you?
Thank you. As soon as Trish was sharing, what came to me was that I actually run darkness retreats, and I take people into pitch dark 24/7 for 8 or 9 days. I learned that with Mantak Chia, where we did 3 weeks, so that we are really entering pure darkness, like night and day, for 9 days. So I'm very familiar with darkness, and I know its healing power. I know its restorative quality, and this deep yin, as we would say, and Taoism of restorative energy, that womb power, the source from where everything is born, and how we shouldn't really be afraid of that kind of darkness, because it's restorative and we rest there. And we're so afraid of darkness generally in culture that we keep street lights and lighting on, and so we don't really access natural darkness so much anymore. But I think also when I heard be a lighthouse in the darkness, what I thought of was not so much that kind of darkness, which I call natural darkness, but what I would call the shadow. And the shadow, I distinguish the difference in my work between darkness and shadow, because darkness and light we see as like yin and yang, natural parts of being, but shadow is a specific thing, which is all the parts of ourself that we haven't yet integrated into self-love. And that's also been referred to earlier, of like the places we're ashamed of, and we're afraid that if we reveal that part of ourself, we'll be rejected or abandoned, and we won't be loved. And so often that comes from like trauma and childhood stuff, and this is a very important part of our being. And when I looked at your topic, I thought, right now globally, there's a lot of darkness of the painful kind, the suffering kind, not just like, oh, we're resting in the yin, but there's darkness of secrecy coming out. We're having a lot of global leaders being like, their shadows are being revealed. And we're seeing places where they have betrayed, not being trustworthy. And so there's a lot of kind of suffering getting overturned right now, at this time in humanity. And that is something that I believe that we struggle with. It's almost as if a collective trauma is coming up to be healed. So when I saw Be a Lighthouse in the Darkness, I really felt like, okay, there's as spiritual beings, as those who are practicing spirituality, connecting to our true self, that inner light, there's a place where there is a need for those of us in the moments that we're feeling connected to source and in our center to turn to those who are in suffering, who are, like when you're in suffering, it's like the clouds have come in front of the sun and you can't, is it still there? You can't feel it anymore. That kind of darkness of suffering is very painful for people. And when people are feeling lost and in pain, then those of us who are connected to source in that moment need to ask the question, how do I light the way back for them to return to source, to their true nature? How do I hold their hand through their dark night of the soul, through their suffering moment? Which of course is a lot to do with compassion and many things that have been mentioned here, shining the light, staying in our center when other people are getting thrown around into chaos, and finding that way to support. Something that I apply not only to personal practice, but to community. I'm very much into community building. I've lived in different communities for 20 years. And whether we're in an intentional community or we're just connecting like this community here with all these people who know each other on this amazing channel of light, this is a very important part of holding each other when times are getting dark, when things that we thought we could trust are suddenly like, whoa, we can't trust that anymore. And that brings this kind of fear, or it can bring fear and instability. So that's what I really see is like, how can we build community? Those of us who are doing practices to connect to the light, to connect to source, doesn't really matter what practice it is, it matters that we're connecting. How do we hold each other's hands? And all of us can have moments where we're knocked back into small self and feeling disconnected. So we need community now more than ever, in person and online, and we need to know how can we support each other through those moments that are a bit more tough, and hold each other's hands and keep supporting each other globally through very interesting and slightly rocky times, as this kind of collective trauma is coming up to be healed. I believe it's coming up to be healed, but when a lot comes up at once, it can be overwhelming.
Absolutely. I think you touched on several things that I want to ask the group about. So, thank you. And yes, it is so important for us to have community. My dog wanted to jump up. So this is another way that we resolve traumas through our four-leggeds, right? I'm going to read a few more comments and then I'm going to bring everybody up for our next question. But Dia writes, Neil Donald Walsh recently lit my fire, my light, when he shared his memory of his question in desperation to God. What is the meaning of all the suffering? God's answer, your work with the darkness. Donald, it manifests in your light, shining ever light, and for others. Neil's, of course, been on this show many times. Dana, who was at our retreat with us, writes, I actually love darkness also, the void, the infinite. Deepak Chopra writes a lot about how the void is where the creativity takes place in life. A couple more comments, and then we'll bring back all of our beautiful presenters. Reverend Jeffrey always does a wonderful job of reminding us to go back and take a look at what Nassim Haramein is doing, what the Resonance Science Organization is up to. So thank you for that, Reverend Jeffrey. Jennifer writes, Jennifer was at our Sedona retreat as well as at our Los Angeles retreat. She writes, sitting in the pitch darkness of the cave in Sedona was the most still and calming experience. And Wolf just wrote very vulnerably, just thinking today that we are all connected psychically brought me an energetic boost when my rhythm needed undulation. This thinking helped me to enter into our shared spirit, which we can share at times. I was going through a dark night of the soul. Thank you, Wolf, for sharing that. And then finally, Sylvia writes, sometimes we need time to bask in radiance and trust that others will step up to meet our needs. That's right, Sylvia. So I'm going to bring my other friends up here for a minute. And I just came up with a question. which I have now rehearsed with these guys because I just thought of it. So here we all are, and I'm gonna bring Omashar too. And we're kind of here sharing our wisdom and our experiences. And I thought it would be nice to ask each of you, when you had a dark night of the soul, when you had a dark time that was difficult, who was an inspiration that impacted you? And I'll give you a moment to think about that. I'll give my example. A long time ago, maybe 30 years ago, I had a really deep depressed place. I was in a deep depression, and I don't experience depression very often. It's really the only time in my life that happened. And I was so depressed. All I wanted to do was sleep. I didn't even want to get up and deal with the world. And one afternoon, as I was falling asleep, not wanting to deal with the world, I just prayed to Yogananda. I said, Yogananda, please come lift this depression. I can't deal with it anymore. And I fell asleep, and I had a very lucid dream about Yogananda. And when I woke up, my entire room smelled of roses, and the depression was gone. And I want to say to everybody, it taught me, and I've met many people since then that have had profound experience with Yogananda. He is a very available saint, a very available being. I can't promise anything specific, but I can say that he is someone that is more likely to come when we call upon him. I experienced it, and I've met other people that have had that experience. So, who wants to share a moment when they were in the darkness and what lit you up? We'll go to Shashi.
I have one. Yeah, I used to run a retreat center in Thailand, and I gave my whole life to this project. And then at one point it was time to move on. So, I sold it, but I'd lived there my whole adult life. And I gave away all my belongings, and I headed off on the other side of Thailand and just had this little hotel room, and I was in darkness of complete unknown. No idea where I was going to go. Nothing but a suitcase and a guitar. And in this kind of like, like kind of like fear of like, I have no idea where I'm going even tomorrow. So I thought, okay, I'm just gonna like pack my things in this case, see what happens. And because I'm a Hay House author, they'd sent me this thing, Hay House Radio Symposium kind of thing. So I click it on, I'll listen while I'm packing. And on comes Marianne Williamson. And I'm listening and I'm packing. And like it was like she was speaking just to me, 100%. Like it was a personal conversation. I mean, I know probably many people felt that. She was talking about entering the unknown, trusting the universe, trusting our journey, surrendering it all to the divine, and from that unknown, like other people have said, like that creative spirit coming through. When we surrender everything, there's more space for the next thing. I ended up with tears streaming down my face, just feeling so much gratitude, like, oh my God, there's a voice coming out of the void just to me, reassuring me, letting me know I'm okay and I'm going to be guided and I don't need to know the next step. I haven't looked back since. I mean, every single step unfolded piece by piece. And I've had so much gratitude to Marianne Williamson. I did the whole Course in Miracles after that. I was like, wow, this woman was just the voice I needed in that moment.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that experience. Thank you. Which of our presenters wants to speak next? Raise a hand, otherwise I'll call it Angel B. Awesome.
Yeah, I think probably one of the most transformative moments for me was after my mother died in a car accident. I was in college and went through deep, deep depression, couldn't get out of bed, couldn't go to class, kept making excuses for not turning in assignments, just all of that. And what really got me back on my feet and back into the world was a beautiful elderly gentleman who kind of facilitated the international student community. And he reached out to me, invited me to a community tea thing where I just to be around other people. And he saw something in me which then he encouraged me to what do you call it? To petition to be the president of the international student community on campus. And with encouragement from a couple other friends, I did, and it got me out of depression and into service. So I feel this is for me the piece that really has always actually taken me out of depression. Again, when I was going through a big layoff and kind of disoriented and going through divorce at the same time, it was another person's suicidal leaning that brought me out of depression to go and serve and support a friend who was threatening to commit suicide. And so I really feel that having a heart for just the suffering of others and awareness towards the humanity and the need for connection and to show up in service to that is really an essential piece that allows us to come out of our own suffering, right? Is to lean towards the collective and be invited back into the collective is hugely healing. So that for me was the piece. Yeah.
You know, one of the parts of what you just shared that's so important for all of us to remember is when someone's down, to remember to tell them how wonderful we think they are, why we believe in them. My favorite coach of all time is Phil Jackson. He's a basketball coach. He's won the NBA championship 11 times. And he has a great thing. He says, when a player is playing great, that's when I am most critical of how he can do better. And when a player is struggling is when I remind him of how great he is. And that's a really because often when people are down and contracted, we might get caught up in their own thing and start seeing them in a negative light or seeing them in that kind of shitty way. But that's when we have to really see the divinity, see the magnificence. So I love how that person did that for you, Angel B. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's hear what Ray and Sahat have to say.
Absolutely. Thank you for being so vulnerable, Angel. That was beautiful.
Absolutely.
I will go first. So I was coming from a space of being rejected from my father and unconsciously was seeking him in relationships. And I found myself in this abusive relationship with this guy, and I had absolutely no self-worth, no self-confidence, no self-love, really. I would do anything to receive love from someone else, but I wasn't giving it to me, and he put me in very compromising situations where I was just sexually uncomfortable. He put me consistently in these situations. And so I was in a really dark space and I was getting into meditation. And when he walked in through the front door, I was in the middle of meditating, and that's when my heart started racing. And that's when I knew I was unsafe. He didn't even interact with me. He just walked through the front door. And I had this physiological response. And so that's when I knew I'm in a very dark space right now. I don't even feel safe with the people that I live with, And so I was listening to Cryon, and Cryon will tell you about your magnificence and about how divine you are, and literally built up that confidence for me from ground zero. And so religiously, I would listen to Cryon, and I would also listen to Abraham Hicks to help reprogram my mind and what I was thinking about myself and what I believed about myself. And over time, I started to believe it, and then I started to manifest it. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Sahat.
So for me, I've had very profound spiritual experiences that have been huge catalysts in my life. One of the things that really helped me out was I was walking and got hit by a car, and I saw in my dreams for 2 weeks, for 2 heptads, I was going to get hit by a car walking, and I did everything to prevent it. And as soon as I let my guard down, it happened. And it left me physically in a space where I couldn't work. And so I lost my place, and I was going through like this deep depression, and also dealing with how to heal my body. And so spirit really just came to me, and I was meditating deeply, and I had these very profound experiences where spirit was talking to me in my dreams, while I was awake, while I was daydreaming, and really guided me on how to go within and learn how to heal myself. And so when later on, when I started to really analyze the relationships, the connections that I have with other people, and the type of connections that I wanted to build, that I was not thrive, but what I was guided to build with other people. My spirit, again, higher self, just came down and gave me this profound experience to the point where I couldn't ignore it. And so I started to really reevaluate how I was navigating in the world with other people, and spirit has always been that guiding. And I mean, it's such a general term, because I mean, spirit has been for me, the voice of God. It has been a round table of divine beings. It has been Master Yeshua coming directly to me. It has been all these profound experiences that have not happened in a physical, but I have felt profoundly in the physical.
Go
Thank you
straight to
for
the
sharing
source.
that. Yeah. Wow. Well, it's beautiful to have both of you with us. And isn't it amazing the incredible lives that we've been blessed to lead, and everybody's spiritual journey is unique and different. And it's, for me at least, fascinating to hear, I'm glad I asked this question to bring up cool stuff. But we haven't heard from Trish yet.
Oh, it's hard to pick one. I feel like I've had lots of dark moments, because I do like the darkness. Like, there's moments where I dive in the places where I'm like, I still don't know about that place inside me that I can love. And the one that I'm landing on is, well, there's two. Early on, in 2006, 7, I had two trigger warning. I'm just going to trigger warning you all. I had 2 sexual assaults by people that I was really close to, and I had nightmares, and I couldn't sleep, and I could barely eat, and I was terrified. I didn't know who to trust, because I loved them. I loved these people. And the first, I looked for things. I didn't know. I grew up in Montana. I didn't know that there was things out there to help. And so when I moved to California, on a pot farm out in the middle of nowhere, I was like, what am I supposed to do? And I found a woman who really changed my life. There was 2 in this time, 2 changed my life. One woman, her name's Doreen Blumenfeld, and she was a hypnotist who helped me stop nightmaring. And she also gave me a book called How to Be an Adult by David Rico, who's a Buddhist therapist. And it was 100 pages. And it was the wildest 100 pages of my life. Like it took me a year to read because I got stuck in certain places. Like there's one that I got stuck for months. It was called Healthy Anger. And I was like, I couldn't even conceptualize that. Like I couldn't even understand that that was a thing. Then there was this woman in massage school named Gail Farham. And I heard about her peripherally in massage school. Like I went to the like best woo school ever. It's called the Mendocino School of Holistic Massage and Advanced Healing Arts. And I heard about her because she spoke to crows, and I was like, those are my beings. And I went and had a card reading of 7 different decks. And she spread them all out, the entire deck. And she spent hours with me, really discussing my whole life. And she told me things that I didn't know and that have deeply come true, or like things that I was like, oh, she was the first person. Okay, this was amazing. She laid me down on this bed, a biofeedback bed, or is it biofeedback or it was a biomat. And she rang a bell over certain areas of my life. And there was this one spot that the bell flattened the sound. And she was like, oh, what happened when you were 7? And it was that moment around, like, I've been touching that 7-year-old moment for, I don't know, the last 10 years. And I'm like, wow, my dad remarried and he stopped hugging me. So then fast forward, right? That totally tripped I didn't have a clue, but I did a whole bunch of contortionist things when I was a 7-year-old child to get his attention, and that wasn't healthy. Anyway, fast forward to 2020, and I started taking an anti-racism course, or that's what I thought. And a really powerful teacher who helped me see behind the matrix, we'll call it, is Bridge Feltis. And I come back to some of her, I'm only giving a few, and Scott, you're one of mine, but I'm giving this one because it was really an opportunity for me to see the harms that I was participating in, the ways that I was harming myself in the ways that I was participating in society, and how I could align with my integrity. And so when I allow myself to be in the darkness and really swim around in there, to find more love there, to not run away from it, that's where I'm coming back into integrity and fully loving myself. So those are a couple.
Thank you, Trish. Thank you. And we are going to call upon our beloved brother Omashar to hear what Omashar wants to share. Thank you, Trish.
Yeah, thank you all. Each of the sharings is just taking me deeper and deeper and deeper into myself. And there's been a few moments in life, but in the last 5 years, I've had a series of losses and betrayals which absolutely shattered my confidence in everything and everybody in life. And this is at the same time as being a musician and playing and putting out all of the things from the center of my heart. And I've been a student of an academy in Canada called the Radiant Rose Academy out of Vancouver. And they teach about the ancient Himalayan mystery school teachings, which basically makes you 100% responsible, not makes you, points out to you that you're 100% responsible for everything that manifests in your life. And this is one of the things that I found very challenging to even understand. However, it's easy for me to say, well, I've listened to a Deepak tape or a Marianne Williamson CD or a Cryon or a Ramtha or whatever. We can all get quick fixes like that, but none of them were permanent. And what I've been taught by the academy is continually to go back into the heart, back into the heart, back into the heart, back into the heart. And whilst I was really down and depressed, I'd never ever been so dark in my life. And I put my head up every so often and put a mask on and play a pretty song, and then go back even deeper. But what I found is by starting to love myself and starting to meditate each day and starting to appreciate each day and starting to imagine the my consciousness being the consciousness of Eden, let's say, and out there everything is in perfection. And I started, even though my mind wouldn't believe it, I started looking to everybody as an equal, divinely sourced, exquisite being. And little by little, the light started to expand in my heart and my mind. And little by little, all of the things that I used to think were done to me started to not disappear, but dissipate, dispel. As I raised my frequency, they didn't exist anymore. I still go back into them. I still wake up in the morning sometimes and thinking, well, they did that to me. And then my other thought comes in and going, well, actually, they didn't. And, maybe even it's a past life karma coming now. However, it's taking 100% responsibility for everything in my life, no matter what happened. And we've all had some pretty heinous things happen to us in our lives, things that I never thought that I'd get over. But by seeing the light within myself and seeing the light within everybody else and realizing we truly are all innocent. We are innocent, all of us. And, so little by little, I've risen out of that. I know I'm never going to get back there again into that depression. And as a result, lifted myself to a frequency, and I've met this amazing bunch of people online. One of them is called the Awakening World, and many other, Unity Earth, and many other gatherings of us all that are joining hands, and we're raising together with each other through sharing our pains and our glories. And so there we are for the moment.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. I'm going to bring you all back on. I've got the next question, and I'll let you all ponder it for a moment, is what is a tip, a tool, or a practice that you can share with our audience that can help people when they are having a tough time, a dark time, to remember love or come into the light? And while you're contemplating your responses, I'll read a couple more comments from our audience. Dorina Joy in Ecuador writes, one of the ways to get out of the painful dark times and face, heal, and cope with states of depression and traumatic wounds is to apply the Ram Dass mantra song, the invitation to love, serve, and remember. Love, serve, and remember. And I'm sure many of us know that song. And Dorina goes on to write, this has always helped me and many others in this amazing journey of healing, individually and collectively. Love, Serve, and Remember, sung by John Aston. And she's got the YouTube link right there in the Zoom room so you guys can play it. Eleanor Joy writes, one of my dark nights occurred in San Francisco in 1997 when my money ran out. I felt helpless, trapped, what to do. I meditated faithfully each morning and leaned towards trusting, and gradually life unfolded beautifully. And my 5 months there became phenomenal. Thank you. Dia writes, Ray and Sahat, tons of gratitude to you both for your open sharings. Cry On in Love with Humanity has helped me as well to see my magnificence and shed my, there must be something wrong with me, conditioning. All of you, the guest speakers and attendees, soften me with me. And Jennifer just wrote, thank you for sharing your heart with us, Amshar. So who would like to start first with a tip, tool, or practice that we can remember and apply if and when those moments occur? Shashi, and then Ray and Sahat.
Yeah, so there are many tools that I love, but the one that really stands out for me for this is called Atisha's meditation, and it comes from Tibetan Tantra. Atisha was the teacher who came up with it, sometimes also called Tonglen. And it's really a meditation of self-love. So what you do is when you're feeling darkness or you're tuning into your pain body, the part that's hurting, you kind of picture that part of yourself. Maybe you see yourself curling up, crying, like how do you look when you're in pain? And you just picture that in front of you. And then you tune into your heart and feel your heart softening and open your heart, and you literally breathe the pain in. Now, I know normally we're like, oh, let's breathe pain out, but you actually breathe the pain into your heart and let yourself be touched. And then you breathe out love. And you just keep going, breathing in the pain, feeling where you're touched. It instantly transforms into compassion. You don't hold that pain, it transforms, and you breathe that tenderness, that compassion back out. It's a bit like if you were a parent and your baby was crying, you pick them up in the night and you breathe in their pain, you breathe out love and tenderness. But it's like self-love practice. And it doesn't take long at all for that like image you have of yourself curled up and crying to like soften, to stop crying, to open up. It's a really tangible, powerful tool. I did it myself every day for 9 months when I was really journeying into self-love on the deepest level. And I use it. You can use it for your own pain. You can also use it for other people's pain, and breathe in their pain and breathe out love. It deepens the well of compassion for yourself and for everybody else, knowing that it's an inherently painful thing to be on this human journey, and yet love. All pain came here to be loved. All pain came here to be loved. And so here we are, showing up with our beautiful hearts, loving our pain, loving each other's pain, and that's the way home together. So Atisha's meditation.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ray and Sahat.
I love this question. So one of the things that I do is I see the God in everything, and I know that that may seem like kind of cliche, but when you see the God in everything, in everyone, it makes things more interesting. So when somebody cuts you off in traffic and they're like, ah, and they give you that energy, it's like, dang, God just cut me off in traffic. Like, why was he so mad? Like, and it's like, it actually, it brings out that inner child, because that inner child is what keeps us youthful, and so it works on so many layers. And so when you are experiencing that deep emotional energy that is weighing you down, because emotions are just energy. Emotion, we want to keep that energy flowing. Just pour that divine flame into you. And I like to work with colors, so I use the violet flame. So I just say, and I don't just say it, but I cognize, and I'm actually visualizing that I pour this divine flame into you, and I pour it when I'm pouring it, I'm allowing it to come into my crown chakra, and it's exiting out of my heart chakra. So I pour the divine flame into you, my physical body, and transmute you into the pure substance that only the God principle sees. And really just think about what that means when you are pouring that energy that is divine into divine, and it's just radiating divine, and only the divine sees the divine. And it's layers to this divine. So you gotta keep it spicy.
What's so funny is Sahat will actually do that. Like while we were driving, we just came on a 2-week road trip, okay? While we're driving, he'll be like, who is that? Is that God expressing himself wearing sunglasses? Oh my God, there's God over there expressing himself wearing short shorts. Is that God riding a bike? Like he really, and I'm just sitting in the passenger seat just watching the Sahat show. And so I love that he keeps it light and keeps it fun, because it's true, and it helps like cope with that emotion, that rise of emotions. For me, after I was coming out of that dark space that I told you guys about, I started meditating. And I was on the bus in Las Vegas, like 2 ways, one way to work and 2 ways the other way, or 2 hours one way and 2 hours the other way. And there was a lot of energies, and I'm empathic and I can feel all these other people's energies. And so one thing that I did was I had to zone everyone out. So started off with a breath and came inside for a second. Just ignored all the sounds around me, the dings of the bus, the people coming in and out, the conversations, the rattling, the fumbling for food in their bag, all of the things that you hear in public transportation. I just silenced it all out, took a deep breath, and visualized an orb of like pink energy, like pink energy, just all around me. And that energy was just like a bubble that could not be penetrated by anyone else's energy. It was all love and joy and giggly and fun and excited, and just all of this like beautiful like confluence of energy flowing, and it was all mine. And I would just visualize like nothing could penetrate that force field that was around me. And so I created, and I would do this every single day on the bus, on the way there and on the way back, on the way there and on the way back, every single day, until I started to notice that my reactions began to lessen. I wouldn't be so feisty when I reacted to someone who might have done something that I perceived as rude, right? Or I would be more understanding or more nurturing to someone who was out of alignment energetically, right? And I started noticing these things, and it's not like the big things that we do, it's just doing these little things on a consistent basis. That is what changes your life. So yeah, just first breathe, meditate, and then visualize, pick your favorite color, that force field around you, and you can fill it with whatever you like. And that's my tip.
Mm. These are such great tips. These are really, really good. Some comments from our audience, then we'll go to Angel and then to Trish. Dia writes, all pain came here to be loved. I love, love, love that. It is so wonderful, Shashi, that Scott met you and brought you onto the show and into this loving community. So yay, welcome, Shashi. Thank you, Dia Therese. Sylvia writes, I know the practice as Tonglen. Pem Chodron has done some great offerings on it, and Sylvia offers a link in the chat box. Margie, who was celebrated her birthday, we had the best birthday party for Margie with Kristen Hoffman and Louisa Stowe playing music, and Bob and Pookie, and of course, Mark Janisovsky and Omashar. It was an amazing night of live music, all celebrating Margie's birthday. Anyway, Margie's here, and she writes, I believe when we have the dark night of the soul, it is when our spirit is strongest and knows we do not want to be our boundaries anymore. That's interesting. That's a very interesting perspective. All right, let's hear what Angel B has as his tip, tool, or practice to share.
Oh, wow. There are many. And I think for me, the tool depends on, your capacity and the circumstance. And so that's where I would start, is like tuning into what your capacity is first. It's wonderful to have tools, but you first need to have the capacity to recognize where you're at and what the right tool might be at the moment. So for me, I'm a very emotional person. In human design, I only have one connection, and that is the channel of emoting. And I was always the sensitive child. And my mission in my work with men is to help more men cry. And so I love to cry. So that would be my number one go-to tool is if you're just struggling, particularly for the men, is wow, brother, just feel it. You got to feel it to reveal it, to heal it. And so I have a practice of encouraging emoting. And emoting for me is not about articulating it in words, because that's in the head. You need to get into the body, and it's about expressing what is there through the body with sounds, with movement, with creating a shape, curling up in a ball if you need to, with stomping, with punching a bag, whatever you need to do. But get that, as you said, energy is emotions are energy and movement. So move the energy. That's the first practice. And allow yourself to just move that energy first before thinking, well, how do I deal with this next? What's a tool that I can use to make it go away or make it feel better? make it feel better by relieving the pressure valve, opening the pressure valve in a healthy way, right? In a way that is conscious. So creating space, go out into nature, yell and scream at a tree, go jump in the water, scream underwater. One of my teachers, in terms of dealing with emotions, because when you open that valve, it can be that people get stuck in it, right? But if you have developed a practice of allowing yourself to go fully into what you're feeling for 3 minutes, 3 minutes and done, 3 minutes and done. Scream it out, rage it out, cry it out, whatever you're needing, 3 minutes, at least that opens the pressure valve. And then you can come to a place of greater capacity to figure out, okay, do I need to ask somebody for something? What do I need? What do I need next? What's a tool I can use? Can I use the breath tool? Can I meditate? Can I, write, journal, whatever it is else? But for me, if it's alive, you got to move that energy as soon as you can in a safe way, right? Safe for others. Because I'll say one more piece: emotional accountability. Emotional accountability is an important thing for me because that's recognizing the impact of our emotions on others around us. And so being responsible for your impact of your emotions, that's why I say be aware of what's alive, find a safe space for you where it's not going to impact others too much, and then give yourself 3 minutes to go into it fully. Shashi knows Zeg Forum, and this is kind of one of the things I learned from Zeg is just acting it out, go full tantra and full tantrum, right? Just throw a tantrum. We're all big little kids inside, so just fully go into it, but only for 3 minutes. Don't get stuck in it, right? That's my tool for now.
Something that's kind of interesting, I'll leave you guys on for a moment and then we'll go to Trish, but there's a TV show on Apple TV called Shrinking. And it's very good. It's with Harrison Ford, and it's primarily comedy, but it's got moments of drama. And it's about a pair of therapists. And one of the more serious practices they give to a little girl, a teenage girl whose mother died, is exactly that. Every day, cry for 3 minutes, then it's over. So it's made it to mainstream. Your suggestion made it to Apple TV. In mainstream. So delivered by Harrison Ford. So there you go. Harrison Ford.
All right.
Yeah.
It's so needed. It's so needed, to have safe spaces. And like Angel says, to make it safe for others. You can't just express your anger all over the place and start screaming because it can trigger other people. But when you make that safe space, that pressure valve is off. And then you don't unconsciously project emotion all over the place, like in the driving.
I also, we're going to go to Trish in a second, but I really appreciate Sylvia, who always has her candles and her stuffed animals and her bears. I'm going to put the camera on you for a moment. There she's always got her friends, her friends that keep her company. And I think whether it's a live one like my puppy or she always lights the candle and has the candle lit. So thank you, Sylvia. You are truly a lighthouse for all of us here. And it's always wonderful to have you on the show. Trish, what do you have to share?
Well, I love that Angel spoke to that, because that is one of the most profound practices that I've found in the world, is to feel it. Years ago, after some of the little things that I shared with you, I read somewhere that said anger turned inward is depression. Not that it's true, but it was really valuable for me in the moment. And it occurred to me that the way that I was socialized, or even in the spiritual community, when they say, oh, anger's a low vibration, that was just incredibly harmful. Incredibly harmful for my vast expression. And I didn't allow myself anger for over 26 years. Do you know what that does to someone? Distorts you and distorts your reality. And then you become a people pleaser, and then you forget who you are. And so one of my favorite tools, not only is to just really allow you to emote it out. I mean, for some of us with massive amounts of, I'm going to use the word trauma, there's anger, there's frustrations, there's places where we've got to emote it out and express it. So the tantrum thing, I've been to a mystery school that taught us that. You probably know the one. And the other piece that I wanted to bring in is really the understanding that for me, this is true, that to really move through the darkness is to accept that you are that too. That the things that make you angry and the frustrations and all the things that you project or judge on outward is the same stuff here. And that if you want to stay stuck in the icky, in the ick, in the discomfort, you can reject it. But if you want to move through it, to accept it and love it as something part of you and part of the world and part of God and part of the universe, like this is what's going to move it, right? Does this make sense? So when I'm sitting here and I'm judging I'll be like, oh, why did that guy cut me out in the car? Like, oh, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm a shit driver too. Like, I'll be like, I do the same thing. You're not meeting my need for safety right now. That's for Scott. And then there's places where I'll feel hurt by someone, or maybe I'll hurt someone. And it's recognizing that I'm also human, and to feel the pain of being human allows me to recenter my integrity, right? To recenter towards. It's subtle shifts every day you get to make. And you've got to hack the body a little bit. You've got to get the cortisol and adrenaline out. I mean, I've got to get it out so that I can meditate, because there is no way that I am sitting there like, like I'm gonna go for a walk and then I'll come back, but I'm still got to get it out. I got to like scream or cry or do everything as it is. And I think that's important to see all of that as being human, the expression of human experience as being a full, whole expression, and to love it there.
Mhm. Beautiful. The motto of our Love Coach Academy that I share with Trish is how perfectly human. And it's just so, whether it's about ourselves, about another, how perfectly human. All right, we've reached the time where it's one last round with all of our friends, and we're going to hear, almost put forward a question, which I'm going to read. And you guys can respond to the question or whatever your final thoughts are. And then we're going to learn how we can get more Shashi and more Ray and Sahat and all the wonderful things that each of these people are up to. Retreats, classes, workshops, all sorts of wonderful things. Omashar's question, and again, you can each respond to it if you wish, or something else, or both. When you are in the fullness of your stuff, meaning the hard stuff, sometimes the vibration is so low that one can end up in entropy. If you haven't the conscious people around you to reflect your love, for instance, how can you lift yourself up out of that initial low frequency? And I'll just go in the same order we've kind of been going with, which means, Shashi, I'm putting the spotlight on you.
Yeah, I already saw that question was like totally. If we look at like in terms of nervous system, that's when we go into the vagus nerve goes into dorsal vagal. It's like we can just shut down, go into a kind of shut down state. And it's really hard to move out of that. It's easier if you're angry to just go emote, but if you're shut down, it's like, you can just feel like you're dead inside. So, I technically what we need to do is activate the nervous system in that point. And actually the things we shared, like listening to an inspirational speaker, can like Abraham Hicks or Marianne Williamson can actually activate something, because these are inspirational speakers that at a higher frequency, and just pressing play and listening can be something we can do. We can also activate the nervous system. So things like shaking. I used to do 9 hours of shaking a day in an ashram in Bali. 9 hours in 3-hour blocks of shaking the body. And you can come in feeling heavy and depressed and maybe don't feel like it, but you shake, you shake, you shake, you shake, you shake, shake, shake. And you start to activate life force energy again. So that, of course, takes that initial getting going. But if we do breath work or shaking or dancing and get that energy activated, we're going to come out of dorsal and back into what's called the sympathetic nervous system. And then we can do emotional release and bang a pillow or whatever. But if we recognize, okay, now I'm in dorsal, now I'm in sympathetic, and I want to get back to ventral vagal, which is my happy place where I feel connected and one with all it is, then we can at least recognize it and just be like, okay, there's my nervous system. It's not really as dark as it feels, just my nervous system going into shutdown. And then, what's the best way to get it out? But I also added, although the question is, what can we do alone? I do really feel we need each other as human beings. We're mammals and we're born looking for our mama and our papa and warmth and holding. And I don't think we're meant to be alone. That's why I'm so community focused. And I think when we're low, we really need beautiful people around us. We need to hold each other through the darkness. So, but of course we've got YouTube or whatever, or someone's channel if it's really not available. Yeah.
Well, and we're doing both. Obviously this show, The Global Peace Tribe, grew out of the pandemic.
Yes.
That's what started. I started doing shows on Saturday night called Saturday Night Alive. And it grew and it grew and it grew. And that's what led to what we're doing now.
And I bet it has lifted many people. Like, we all went through so much fear. We didn't know what was going on, right? And I bet so many people, I've only just found this channel, but I bet so many people were lifted up by the programs you put together. And I can see that people are lifting each other up even here and now. And that's community, isn't it? That's what we need.
And you are building beautiful community with your website, livetantra.com. livetantra.com. It's in the chat box for those of you in ours. Remember, for all of you on Facebook, it's amazing what you've created, Shashi. And I know it's you and other collaborators.
Yeah. Anaisa, actually, who
Anaisa, who we both love and adore. But you've got all sorts of master classes. And a lot of it is tantric oriented, but also I see the holistic pleasure connection, Taoist sexual secrets, yoga for couples, cultivating conscious sexuality, healing trauma in intimacy. So there's a lot of really beautiful courses taking place here.
It's all about connection, on every level: spiritual, heart, physical, relational. It's all about connection. Such a big part of our life. And people think Tantra is just about sex, and it's like, no, not at all. So much more. The
next time we do a show on sacred sexuality, of course you'll be on it. We've done several shows. We've had Margot on, of course. Margot's a longtime friend of mine. Goes way back.
I love her.
So yeah. So it's wonderful to meet you, Shashi. Thank you so much for being in our awakening world, and I hope you have to visit us again soon.
It's amazing. My heart is so touched, feeling the connection, the love, these beautiful souls here. It's such an honor. Thank you all for making the space, inviting me here.
Absolutely. And stick around because we have a closing Omashar song, and I want to, we talk about shaking, dancing, and moving and grooving. So, all right. I think, we go to Ray and Sahab next. Hello, beautiful spiritual couple.
There we go. We have been bested by the mute button. No, I love that question, Omashar. And, it's such a profound question, because often when we are in that energetic space of like extreme depression or extreme like guilt or shame or whatever, and we're just stuck in that energy, it's hard to move it. And it's back to what, and let me know if I'm saying your name right. It's Shashi, right? Shashi. Okay, perfect. So back to what Shashi was saying, like, we have to move the energy in order to change that physical state, for you to change your emotional state. And, but first you have to mentally come to a space of where you're ready to change your state. A lot of times when we're in that energy, we want to stay there. for whatever reason. Like, I just want to brood and be mad and be angry and just keep talking about my woes, right? But staying in that space is only going to perpetuate the energy you're in. So I think step one is deciding, I don't want to feel like this anymore. Deciding I'm done feeling like this. I'm done being here. And then making a choice to do better. And then once you make that choice to get out of it, once you make that choice to move the energy, all you have to do is change your state. You can change your emotions, you can change your physical state like that, and that'll change how you feel. One of the things that I learned is like, what is the position of your sternum, right? If your sternum's kind of down, your head is down, your shoulders are forward, your back is hunched. But if you imagine there's a string that's like from your sternum to like the heavens, and then just imagine someone's pulling on that string a little bit, it automatically lifts your chest, lifts up your head, squares off those shoulders. It gives you that feeling of confidence, like I can do anything, right? And it's just like a centimeter difference. It's not very much of a difference, but it will do the world of difference in your emotional state. So when you're in a low energy or a low frequency, change your state, get the energy moving. Scream therapy. We talked about that a lot on the retreat. Scream it out, get it out. But first comes the mental, making the choice to get out of the situation. Then there's so many tools you can use. So.
And I personally like to add on to that for the transmuting of the energy role playing. So say I'm deep into like an emotion like anger, and I'm really working through it, whatever it is that caused that anger. I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna separate it. Like if it was a person, somebody did something, I'm not angry at that person. I'm angry at what they did. So I'm gonna take that anger from that person and I'm gonna yank it out of them. And we're gonna have a conversation. I'm gonna take it out in this alleyway and we're gonna do some Street Fighter. I'm gonna karate size yo. And I'm gonna show you these healing hands. So, I actually will like act out like, doing like, kicks and stuff, throwing fireballs. I'm doing combo kicks, and like my inner child comes out. And once that inner child comes out, I'm like, I feel better. Like we just kicked that ass. Like
So how will live forever because he stays in his inner child.
I will. I will.
So I just want to make sure
point,
that everybody caught that you're not kicking anybody else. You're out there having imaginary.
Oh yeah.
Just want to make sure everybody caught that.
In real life. Like this is not something that happens in his head. Like he's in real life.
Right, but there's nobody on the other side of those chops and punches.
No, just energy.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, hey, you two are just about to launch something very special. You are about to do your own retreat. You were like the absolute stars of our retreat. So tell us about the Light Masters Spiritual Retreat. And is there still room for people to come and join you?
Absolutely, yes. So the Light Masters Retreat is where we're at right now. This wonderful energy, these gems. So we
it's a little dark in here because it's like mood lighting.
Yeah.
Like this is not for filming, but we're actually at the venue right now. So there's a geodome. It's right off of a lake in Jackson, Georgia.
It's right by High Falls State Park, and it's so much to do out here, and we have so many amazing activities. We have so many amazing clerk shops because we about to be playing and we about to be working this energy out of the things that are not serving us so that we can get to that next level.
We're using a lot of energetic frequencies to cause transformation. The purpose of this retreat is to integrate mind, body, and spirit in order to get you to your next level of happiness and to manifest with ease and with speed. That is one thing that honestly we're really proficient at, is just like manifesting things and creating out of nothing. And we've broken it down to a systematic process on exactly how to do it and how to implement that in your own life. So you'll come in on the first day, and you'll learn how to habit stack and how to have a beautiful rising routine. We're going to do yoga on the water, and we're just going to have a beautiful experience at rising routine and night rituals every single day. And what we did was we condensed about 10 weeks worth of coaching and training into like a 4-day transformational experience. And so we'll have horseback riding, we'll have water activities, and it's going to be absolutely transformational. So
Yeah, we're excited.
absolutely, we would love to see you there. And
so I've got we'll go back to the website for a moment, but if people, because it's starting right away, it's starting tomorrow.
No.
May 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Oh, so we got plenty of time.
4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So go to the website. Again, it's collectiveco.info. Collectiveco.info. I've put the link into the chat box. Learn all about the things that are happening. And it's May 4th through 7th. I got a little confused there, with your favorite spiritual couple, Ray and Sahat. And anything else you want people to know if they're considering coming?
Yeah. So there is, when you go to the website, there is a quick questionnaire. Just put in the questionnaire like what your thoughts or what you would like to. Yeah. So when you click the button, it says like join the wait list. Scroll down a little bit, Scott. Yeah.
There we go.
And so it'll have you fill out this quick questionnaire. This will give you direct access to us. Once we see that come in, we'll contact you and then we'll have a conversation. So anything that you want to ask us, or if you feel like it's an alignment for you, or if you feel like you're just going through something in life right now and life is lifing and you just don't know how to manage, like we will give you the tools on how to cope through everyday life. And I know we only have a couple minutes, but really quick, on our way, we decided to go on a road trip, and on our way to LA, we totally totaled the car. Like we completely totaled the car. And so on an average situation, that's like, oh my God, like people are freaking out. There's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of like fear, sadness, and there's a lot going on when it comes to car accidents. Literally, the cops told us we're not going to make it to LA. And we're just looking at each other like this won't do. And when you know your power, when you know your creation, you know your magnificence, you demand what you want from the you and I verse, right? And so we ended up, anyway, long story short, everything flowed beautifully. Like we even got paid for the car before we even got back from the whole trip. Everything just flowed so beautifully. So when things happen, life challenges you, when you have these tools, it's like water on your back. Like, it's like, oh, that no big deal. Like, oh yeah, we totaled the car. It's fine. We're going to get a new one. Like, it's fine. So if you want to learn how to do that, we're going to teach you how to do that.
Again, they were just at our retreat, and really being able to get them full time where they were able to, have a few hours to share their wisdom. People just loved what you had to share. And so I think going to your retreat would be a great choice for anybody that's really wanting to up their game and really move into a much higher level of vibration, consciousness, and just enjoyment of life. So highly, highly recommended. And thank you so much for being with us. I love you guys so much.
We love you. Thank you, Scott.
You, brother.
Stick around for the closing overture song.
Absolutely.
We're going to go to Angel B and Trish, but a couple of quick comments from our wonderful audience, because I love when you guys participate. Grace Denise writes to Omashar, your music is so healing, uplifting, and inspiring. You owe it to yourself and to us who benefit from it and its beauty to have for yourself lots and lots and lots of fabulous, nourishing resources that you love. I agree, Grace. Absolutely. Dorina puts in the chat box a long message, but it's beautiful, about a recommendation for a 3-part documentary series called Human the Movie. It's free on YouTube and is all about what makes us all human. So that's a great suggestion, Dorina. Thank you so much. And thank you, Eleanor Joy, for your comments. Last comments I'll read for now. Dana writes, to Omashar's question, I think unconditional acceptance of whatever you're feeling and experiencing, rather than judging or resisting it in any way, is really essential. First, once it feels truly seen and heard and acknowledged, that energy can then begin to melt and move. And then in any way that you know how to, beginning to find and tap into your connection and source once again. Absolutely. It does start with radical acceptance of ourself, of our circumstances, of each other. Thank you, Dana. I see more comments coming in. I will do one more round of reading, but I am eager to hear what Angel B has to say. Hey, brother.
Hi, everyone. So yeah, dealing with things when we're deep in it, when we're feeling stuck. There's many things, but for me, my go-to for myself is, in all essence, I tend to be more of a philosopher in life. And philosophy for me is feel oh so free. That's what it's for, is to help us feel more free. And so what that means is I find a lot of benefit in shifting mindset and doing mindset work when I'm feeling stuck on something. And that really comes down to asking the question, why is this happening? Which we often ask ourselves when we're dealing with something we're not happy about. But really, it's like, it's coming back to the belief and the trust that life happens for us, not just to us. And so for me, I think that's really a key component to turning the curve on something that's not pleasant or that we're feeling stuck on, is really coming back to, okay, if I were to believe that this is happening for me, not just to me, what's the for me about? What's the for me in this? What's that possibility look like? And to just, whether it's through a contemplation, sitting contemplation as a practice, or journaling, or just brainstorming, or just listening, tuning in, right? Listening to yourself, self-reflecting. What could be in this for me? Why is this happening? And what's the best thing that could happen? Not the worst thing that's going to happen. What's the best thing that could happen from this situation? So these are always like just pivots of our mindset, right? Of our story. And it's good to start with, well, what story am I telling myself right now? Right? This is always a useful question. This is happening, I'm feeling this, and blah, 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 blah. What's the story I'm telling myself? Poor me, or why me, or why are they such an ass, da, 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 right? Why does this keep happening to me? Well, go into that story a little bit more and say, well, this is the story I'm telling myself. It may or may not be true, but what is the best outcome, the best thing that could possibly happen next? And so it's inviting a mindset shift. And as a philosopher, as a person who enjoys human psychology, this I've always found as useful things, While I do also do a lot of work on the emotional level, I think the next piece for me is like going into the self-reflection. Once I've cleared some of that emotional energy, it gives me a little spaciousness. So how can you create space with the situation and allow it to reveal something more, potentially a gift on the other side? Because really that's what life is about, right? Is we got to go through it to get to it. And it's not about trying to find a shortcut or going around, or there's a lot of young kids out there figuring out life hacks and how to get there quicker. But really, for me, it's about going through the work, and that everything life gives you has medicine in it. What's the healing balm on the other side of this? What's the gift? And if you can imagine that, you can make that, right? If you can just even conceive of a possible good upside to this, then you can actually manifest that. And of course, that requires a lot of other skill sets and possibilities and tools. But it starts with really that inquiry of like, why is this happening, and what could be the gift in this for me? I think that's a really beautiful, positive thing to look at.
Beautiful.
Self-empowering, right? Claiming back the power over the circumstance.
Grace Denise just wrote, yes, Angel, the silver lining. How am I growing from this? What am I learning? Where are the hidden blessings and the new awarenesses coming my way? Dia writes, right on, Angel. How this is so perfect for me right now. You are a sweetheart. Yes, she is. Cry on, namaste, and love, love, love. And you can get more Angel B. He's an Instagram guy. So go to your Instagram account and you'll find him Angel_Belove. And he is truly an angel that beloves. And look, there we are promoting our show. Thank you for that. But that's where you've got his photos and anything you want to direct people to here, Angel?
I'm sure. I mean, people can explore that. Follow me if you want to learn more about the specific offerings I do. I don't work just with men, but I tend to focus with men at the moment. I do relationship counseling for couples as well, for individual women as well. I'm part of Love Coach Academy training background, and this is the work that I love to do, is really apply a lot of what Scott has instilled in me and through nonviolent communication and many of the tools from Love Coach Academy, as well as my own journey as relationship as a spiritual alchemy. I've chosen the journey of relationship to be my path to enlightenment. And I really feel that this is a powerful journey if we choose it. The thing that I'm promoting next, I'll be releasing shortly, is it's going to launch just prior to Father's Day, is a program for an online program, so global, for fathers and men who want to consider being fathers, to prepare themselves to be fathers. And it's called Fulfilling Fatherhood. And so it's really about how to make fatherhood fulfilling, as well for yourself, as well as how to fulfill the role and the demands and so on of being a healthy and adept father. So it's really that journey of fatherhood, preparing men for that, and also supporting men who are in that journey to make it more fulfilling, more easeful, more joyful for themselves. Because for me, it's been a huge part of my blessing in my life journey.
Do you have a link for that program yet?
Not as yet. It's not live yet. So I can share something more. And
once it's live, let me know, and I'll bring you back onto one of our shows to promote it, because I think that
amazing.
I really want to promote that. I think that'd be
absolutely excellent. Thank you so much, Scott, and thank you, everybody. Please follow me if you'd like to learn more, and happy to share more with each individually.
Talk to you soon. And I'm serious. I definitely want to have you come back on when you've got your link ready.
I'd love that.
My wonderful co-host, Trish. What do you want to share tonight?
Did you get my link that I posted?
I did. It's ready and raring to go when you're ready.
Okay. Well, first I want to say, I'm going to type in the chat box that you can always find the Self-Love Show on YouTube or Spotify. And that is a really sweet place where you can find tools of self-love, and maybe I can, like you said last time, poach these people to come and teach.
Absolutely. I mean, Shashi would be great on the Self-Love Show, right?
How was your Angel? How did you like him? Were we nice? Did we treat you well?
And so people know what we're talking about. Trish has a wonderful show called The Self-Love Show every Thursday morning, 10 o'clock Pacific time. And it's a beautiful show. I've been on it. Ray and Sahat have been on it. And I'm imagining that Shashi and Angel might be on it soon. So catch it Thursday mornings, 10 o'clock. It's a beautiful show. And as she said, you can go back and watch all the replays, all the recordings on Spotify. Yeah.
The important piece about the self-love show is that it is an opportunity to get free coaching, right? So at the beginning of COVID, we created something where you could get free coaching from therapists or coaches from all over the world in different modalities, because just because it works for me, or maybe it works for Ray or Scott or Omashar, maybe it works for all of us, but maybe something works for you better. And that's the important piece, is something to give everyone an opportunity to get the coaching and the help that they need for free. So I'd love to share that with you, but I'm also really excited if you're in the Bay Area and you're queer and you want to come out dancing and you want to meet a whole group of people. I'm connected with Soul Play and a really cool community called Genre Fluid. And we're doing a clothing swap, dance party / I'm hosting a connection experience, which is like speed dating for queer friends. And I love this community so much. So if you want to come play and dance and be sweet and maybe do face painting and, maybe like some temporary tattoos, who knows? I've got so many things, ask questions, answer questions, and just really make sweet connections that are really fully allowing you to be all of you, all of yourself, and to explore any gender, sexuality, any of all of the things that you could possibly be. We want to celebrate you there. So.
Beautiful.
I wonder if we have another Kayla who's actually hosting the event. Bring. I'll hold their hand.
Oh, thank you, Trish. I love you so much. Thank you. All right. It's what we've all been waiting for. We are going to digest all this wonderful information, all these tips, tools, and practices through the wonderful music of Omashar.
That would be me. And what a beautiful, beautiful night. Thank you, Angel B, and thank you, Shashi, and Trish, and Ray, and Sahat, and Scott, and myself, and all of us who are chipping in. The community is amazing, and it's amazing as we get to know each other. We can laugh with each other, and when the moment we laugh, it's like, what was I thinking about that was hurting me, or nothing? And so this is a song. I call my music metaphysical pop music. This is meta rock. It's a slow rock song, and it's called "I Am the Lover You Need." And there was a time when I was dragging my lip on the pavement, my lower lip, and God Goddess came to me and said, what you're about to hear. So here we go.
Where is the light in your eyes? Where is the joy in your heart? Why are you hiding from me? Staying locked in your doubts. My love is all that there is. Your fear is hurting you so. I know it's all that you feel, and that it's hard to let go, and go, 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 go. You do not believe in me. You'd rather live in your dreams. I've come to set you free. I am the lover you need. I hold my hand out to you. All I ask is your trust. I love you more than you know, and I love you and you and you and you and you and you and you. I see you longing for home. You need to feel you belong, and that there's purpose to life. Come back
Gallery view time, everybody. Twinkle, twinkle.
You having fun yet?
Twinkle, twinkle, Omashar, you truly are a star.
Thank you.
That's beautiful.
Merely a reflection of all of us. Thank you for recognizing.
It's awesome. Awesome. Well, everybody, it was a beautiful show. And each and every one of you is so wonderful. I want to let you know what's coming up this weekend, because we've got 2 more shows for this week, and they're both going to be great. On Saturday night, Jennifer Hill comes back to co-host with Omashar, and it's all about Hurt Less and Live More. And she's bringing some of her incredible healers again. So it'll be a show all about healing. Remember, Jennifer runs omheals.com. Dr. Mark Goulston is quite well known, so we're really honored to have him with us. And along with Omashar playing music, Daniel Balone is coming back. And some of you have been with us for a while. Remember Daniel? He's a beautiful man and an incredible kirtan singer. So that's going to be this Saturday night. And then Sunday is going to be kind of a follow-up on what we started last Easter Sunday. Last Easter Sunday's show was beautiful. And we're going to continue on with the exploration of Mary Magdalene. And we've got a really incredible group. This woman, Chanel, will be coming to us from France. She leads tours in France of all the different sites that Mary Magdalene visited, and really has an understanding of that part of the history. Eden Amadora will be my co-host. She's leading one of these retreats to France. Of course, Christy Michaels has been doing for 13 years now shows on Mary Magdalene. And then we have Melissa Sophia Joy, who channels Mary Magdalene. So it's going to be a very, very special Sacred Sunday show. So please do join us for that. Blessings, everybody. Have a beautiful evening. Share these shows with your friends. Have house parties. Take the videos and share them with everybody. And I'm going to go back to gallery review one more time so everybody can wave goodbye. And I look forward to my next connection with each and every one of you. Have a beautiful evening and a beautiful week. Good night, everybody.